be taking you direct to Rajpath for the beating of the retreat ceremony. That is the culmination of Republic Day parade celebrations. The President is on her way with the President's bodyguard to the venue of the function in Rajpath. This is of course a traditional ceremony that signals the military returning to its barracks after a day of fighting. When the sun comes down, we'll of course be hearing these Indian compositions. Most of the music that will be played today is Indian in origin. 19 of the 25 performances composed by Indian musicians. Just 4 popular tunes by foreign musicians have been retained, interspersed twice with fanfare. So we're just waiting for that ceremony, the beating of the retreat. A spectacular display of both ambience in terms of what we'll see visually as well as musically, with the military bands of various services performing at the Rajpath. The President is the chief guest at the beating of the retreat ceremony. Traditionally, this is a tradition that the military would sound the bugle for the military personnel to return to their barracks at the end of a day's fighting when the sun came down. So that's a tradition that has also been apparently taken from the British but has been carried out in India since Republic Day. You can see the President arriving in her car surrounded by the President bodyguards cavalcade.
Bird's eye view of the procession as the President's motorcade now moves in ceremonial escort with a division in front and a division at the rear. Absolutely splendid.
राष्ट्रपति की कार के साथ रेजिमेंट के कमांडेंट कर्नल आकाशदीप भनोट अपने घोड़े विराट पर और अपने घोड़े विक्रांत पर सेकंड इन कमांड लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल महेंद्र सिंह चंदेल हैं।
Devi Singh Patil now alighting from her car, arriving at Vijay Chowk for beating retreat, being greeted by spectators, being received by Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, and now being greeted by the 3 service chiefs. The Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, the President of India. And in a while from now, we'll see the bands of the Army, the Navy and the Air Force perform here at Vijay Chowk. And any moment now, the word of command by Colonel Akashdeep Bhanot.
राष्ट्रपति अभिलक्षक सलामी देंगे। राष्ट्रीय सलाम Left hand, take. Sections,
joining us in our studios, he has many hats. He's also the consulting editor of the Business Standard, but he joins us today with his military cap on, even though he's a retired Colonel. Ajay Shukla, thanks for coming in to the studios, Ajay. Tell us, there's a lot of history behind the ceremony now, and the various stories on where it exactly originated in history. Is it way back when medieval armies fought and they sounded the end of fighting when the sun came down, or is it something more recent, in English history, maybe the 18th century?
Well, there's a direct historical linkage between war and music. You know, starting from the time when music used to be used to pluck up courage, the beating of drums, the images of Highland regiments, Scottish regiments going into battle with the skirl of bagpipes. So there's always been an element of music that has been associated with the martial tradition. But what we're seeing really here today is the culmination of a week of really colorful spectacle, military spectacle. And at the end of a day's work in the military, you have a ceremony called the retreat. When the flag is lowered, everybody in the cantonments comes to a halt. It serves to signal the end of the day, as well as the fact that so many people have laid down their lives. It's a moment of memory, it's a moment of remembrance. So what you're seeing here is the culmination of a week of Republic Day celebrations, and today the regiments which had come out to parade will be asking the President for permission to go back to their barracks.
So the bugles that are being sounded now are for that? Or that just starts the ceremony after the national anthem?
That's the fanfare that signals the start of the ceremony, the coming out of the massed bands which will go. The fanfare is the traditional military start with bugles to the start of anything. As you know, Amitabh, in the old days before radio sets and so on came in, bugles were the method of signaling commands. So it's a very direct military tradition that has come up. The West sees this as coming up from the medieval times, but as everybody in India who's read the Mahabharata knows, this goes back much older in the Indian and the Chinese and the Asian traditions.
So what do we expect now? The national anthem has been played, those bugles. Is this a moment of silence?
No. The bands you will just find emerging over that little crest over the hill. They'll come up, a whole line of music, all 20 of those brass bands and another 15 bagpipe bands. They will all emerge over that little crest of Raisina Hill. I think you can just take a look at them. It's happening right now.